Welcome to Diversity Matters, the series where I get the opportunity to discuss the power of diversity, equity, and inclusion with leaders across the country. I'm your host, Teresa Palacios Smith, and I'm Chief Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer for Home Services of America and Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. And today we have an exciting episode in store for you with our very special guest, Jamie Tian, a true trailblazer and the youngest president ever to lead the Asian Real Estate Association of America, also known as AREAA. So with over 18,000 members, AREAA is a nonprofit organization dedicated to promoting homeownership opportunities for underserved communities through education, advocacy, community engagement, and professional development. And today we're going to get an opportunity to delve into her groundbreaking achievements, her vision for a more inclusive future, and the transformative impact that Jamie is making every day alongside AREAA. So get ready to be inspired as we uncover the story behind Jamie's remarkable leadership. So welcome, Jamie, and thank you for joining us on Diversity Matters.
Thank you so much, Teresa, for having me today. I'm so excited to be here.
Me too. And one of the things that I love to hear is your background, because I've heard a little bit about it. So I want others to know your remarkable background, and also how did you get involved with AREAA? So if you don't mind just taking a few minutes to telling us your story.
Yeah, of course. So I'm a first generation immigrant from China. So I was born in China. At the time when I was born, all property was actually owned by the government. And even if you had the means, you couldn't purchase or even rent a property. The government basically assigned you a place to live based on seniority, how long you have been working. And if you weren't lucky enough to be assigned a place to live, you were kind of just expected to live with family or other people or figure something out. So my parents and I, at the time, I was born in Nanjing. My parents were both working as research professors at a university called Hohai University in Nanjing. And so for the first few years of my life after I was born, we lived in a structural engineering lab where my parents worked during the day as professors and researchers, and we slept on the ground on a mattress at night. And it was all, they weren't lucky enough to be assigned a place to rent. And so that was all they had. And so my parents, they wanted a better life for our family. So, they took a leap of faith and decided that they wanted to immigrate to the United States. And that's a place where, the dream of homeownership was possible. My parents both applied for PhDs and they ended up going wherever they could get a scholarship. So my mom actually left first. She was 27 years old, all by herself. I was 2 years old at the time, and she left for the University of Pittsburgh. And then my dad left a few months later for the University of Oklahoma. And for the first few years, I stayed actually behind in China with my grandparents. My parents wanted to go and just get settled, focus on their schoolwork, and make sure that they, made a place for me to settle in. And also, they were both away from each other because my mom was in Pittsburgh, my dad was in Oklahoma. So it was really hard, and the separation from each other and from me was really difficult. But it kind of like gave us an opportunity and it laid the groundwork for our future. So when I was 4 years old, I finally came to the United States and I reunited with my parents and I came to Oklahoma. We faced many challenges, including like culture shock and, just building a life together in a foreign land. But it was in America that our dream of homeownership finally became a reality. So our first home was in Irvine, California, and we purchased that home when I was 9 years old. It was more than just like a first place that we could call our own home, but it really represented stability, security, a sense of belonging. When I got into UCLA for college, my parents were able to refinance the home and take the equity that they had built to pay for my college tuition. And honestly, that's probably something that they would have never been able to afford if we had never been able to purchase a home. So my early experiences really were, instrumental in shaping my experiences of what homeownership means and also my perspective as a real estate agent and the role that we play in the lives of immigrant families. So real estate is really more than just a transaction. It's about realizing dreams, building communities, creating legacies for families. So my involvement with AREAA kind of began as a extension of my professional journey into real estate. And was kind of driven by a desire to give back to my community after I had experienced, this life as an immigrant and achieved homeownership. So AREAA gave me a purpose kind of beyond the next sale. It taught me that the power of telling my story, sharing our journeys, it's collective experiences that really resonate across our communities. And so AREAA's mission of homeownership and helping underserved communities achieve homeownership really resonated with my own experiences and aspirations. So it made my decision to join and eventually lead the organization very easy and, an honor and a privilege.
Oh my God, Jamie, what a beautiful story. People don't realize what power that we have in this country. Something that you and I have in common. That's the same age I was when we bought our first home too. I was 9 years old and I had to actually serve as the translator for my family because they didn't know how to speak English. My dad was working and and I was just nine and that's how I got my touch into real estate. And I feel the same thing about real estate that you do. And I mean, just beautiful, so hard that you had to be away from your parents for that time and that they had to be separate, but the sacrifices they made in order to provide you and your family a better life is incredible and very inspiring, Jamie. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I can see why you were selected as AREAA's president. You obviously have the capacity, the strength, but I know you weren't supposed to come into this role until a year, like I think it was a couple years later, right? Or that you were actually not supposed to begin. So you were kind of thrown into, to what a year earlier. So how did you prepare yourself for that?
Yeah, so, stepping into the role of national president a year early was definitely unexpected, but it has been a privilege. Luckily, AREAA, we elect our next president 3 years in advance. So, like this year, I think we're going to be electing for 2027. So, they do that with purpose because they want the next president to have plenty of time to prepare, shadow and engage with the past leaders, really immerse yourself into the organization's initiatives. So luckily, I had 1 year already to prepare myself. I've been really trying to get involved, listening in on all the calls, all the committee calls, getting involved to prepare myself. So I felt that I had been pretty much prepared, although definitely I was nervous and I kind of just jumped into it. And obviously, being the youngest to assume this position, I think adds an extra layer of responsibility because I want to make sure that I represent our generation, inspire the next generation of leaders. And so I'm really honored and excited for this opportunity.
Oh my gosh, Jamie, that's really great. And I think that you definitely, have filled in so easily. And the one thing I do admire about AREAA, because I was at the Atlanta AREAA installation gala that was held on Friday night, is how other chapters, like Han was there, like all these leaders from all over the country actually flew in to support the Atlanta chapter and many of them on their own dime. Like the Charlotte chapter drove down, to be with AREAA Atlanta, so I think that's something that's so beautiful to be said about the organization. And those that don't know about AREAA, let's talk about it because I think it's probably, I love AREAA. It's one of my, I just go-tos because, I learned so much. I did not know as much about the different ethnicities, the different, languages that are spoken, many of the symbolic parts of the Asian community. I didn't know all that. So how can people find a chapter and what are membership costs and, a little bit more so that they can become familiar for those that are watching?
Yeah, you're so right. When I first joined AREAA, it was like, of course, just a professional network at first, networking, business development, of course, the advocacy portion. But really, after coming to more AREAA events for a few years, I really became part of the AREAA family. And you witnessed that at the Atlanta Gala in that all of us truly treat each other like family. We are so excited every time we see our family from across the country. And we do fly all around the country. Everybody pays for themselves to fly around the country, to meet their friends, to support their galas. And that's truly, truly the heart of AREAA. But yeah, a little bit basic information about AREAA. So AREAA is a 19,000 member nonprofit professional trade organization. We're dedicated to promoting sustainable homeownership opportunities in the AA-NHPI community. So AA-NHPI is Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander community. We have 45 chapters across the United States and Canada. We have 2 in Canada, and we're the largest Asian American trade organization in North America. So we do focus on advocacy, professional development, as well as community engagement. And our goal is really to be a voice for the underserved communities in the real estate industry. If you are interested in joining, check out our website, areaa.org, where you can find your closest local chapter. We're, again, 45 chapters around the country, so most likely there is a chapter close to you. And membership is only $99 a year right now. It's prorated depending on the time of the year that you join. After this July, though, we're going to increase it to $120 a month. So it's still only $10 a month. However, if you join now and you set your account to auto renewal, you will be locked into the 99 per year membership fee forever. So
Wonderful. I
yeah, that's
love
a
that.
little tiny perk. You know, you save $21 if you join now. And that's so yeah, $10 a month. It's
So
fun.
that I love that. And it's yeah, not a year, not the 120 a month, but it's actually a year. So
Yeah,
$10 a month. Perfect.
exactly.
And I will tell you, Jamie, the other thing, because a lot of people used to ask me when I was part of NARA, well, do you have to be Hispanic to join NARA? Do y'all do your meetings in Spanish? Absolutely not. I feel so embraced, so loved when I go to AREAA. They treat me like I'm Asian. Like they actually, so I just want to make sure everyone knows that comment. And the other comment I want to make sure that people are aware, if you don't have a AREAA chapter in your state or close by, and you have a large population, you might want to consider opening a chapter,
Yes,
right, Jamie? Because
totally.
AREAA, because
That's
AREAA,
totally true.
yes, Ari is so good about giving you the blueprint to be able to be successful if you have the right, excitement, passion to do that and to be part of the community. So, one of the things that I love too is that you also have symbols and, a lot of luck and iconic celebrations. And this year, we're celebrating the lunar year. It's the Lunar New Year, particularly the year of the dragon. And does it end today or did it end on?
It ended a few days ago, I
Okay,
think.
I thought it saw. Yes,
Yeah,
I thought
so
it did.
yeah, exactly. So Lunar New Year is a time of renewal, celebration. It's celebrated across many Asian cultures and it's celebrated for 15 days. So I think it started on the 10th, Saturday, like 2 weeks ago. And then for 15 days, it's celebrated. And then I think it ended on Saturday. But you're right. This year is the year of the dragon. My husband was actually born in the year of the dragon. It's supposed to be either very, very lucky or unlucky on your zodiac year. So we'll have to see. But the dragon symbolizes strength, it symbolizes wisdom, it symbolizes prosperity. And the festivities vary across the regions and the cultures, but usually, of course, it includes family gatherings, red envelopes, and lots of delicious food. So traditionally, the red envelopes are called hongbao, and they're given by married people to unmarried people. So mostly to
Oh,
children, but like, yeah, until you're married, you usually get red envelopes from your married relatives. And then once you're married, you're expected to give them out. And they
oh, wow.
cash inside. So it could be any amount of cash. The amount doesn't matter, it's just the thought that counts, but it's very lucky. And so that's a very fun part of Chinese New Year, especially for children, because they like to collect all their red envelopes and, see how much money they can collect. But some of the most common foods eaten on Lunar New Year include dumplings, egg rolls, sticky rice cakes, noodles, which represent longevity, whole fish. There's much more. And there's a lot of different reasons for it, but a lot of them are kind of play on words. Chinese culture specifically. I'm Chinese, so talking more specifically about Chinese culture. Of course, Korean culture, all the different Asian cultures celebrate Lunar New Year a little bit differently. But Chinese culture is very funny. They like to do a lot of like play on words and things that have to do with wealth, right? So like we say Happy New Year, Gong Xi Fa Cai, or you've heard Gong Hei Fat Choi. And that means basically it means like hope you get rich.
I like that.
That's how we say Happy New Year. Instead of Happy New Year, we say, hope you get rich this year. And like, you see the red emblems that they paste on their doors, right? It says Fu, which means wealth. So a lot of symbolism to do with fortune, good wealth. Hopefully you'll have good prosperity to make money this year. So that's a lot of kind of like the symbolism that is celebrated on Chinese New Year, but it's a lot of fun.
Well, I think it's amazing, all of the symbols. And I know that when I was at AREAA the last time around, Jim Park talked about the AREAA, even the home, the red, the symbol, all of that was part of, the symbols, right, of wealth and opportunity. And I just love that. I think that's amazing.
Yes, the Aria logo, it looks kind of like a house.
House.
It's a Chinese character for ren, which means humans, people. So it's kind of a play on that, and that's why we have that symbol.
I love it. And the red is wealth. I mean, just the whole thing when he was explaining about that, that was really neat. One thing that Jamie, were part of and are also, I love mentorship. I love it. I think it's really important, whether it's in person or that you see mentors above you that you can inspire and aspire to be. So tell me, talk a little bit more about that and what role it helped in shaping your journey.
Yeah, definitely. I've always been someone who always looks up to people who I think are more experienced and better than me to kind of become better, right? I've always looked up to the three founders of AREAA, Jim Park, Alan Okamoto, John Wong, really for paving the way for AREAA 20 years ago. And they have such different personalities, different ways of leadership, and different ways of doing business. But they have, different values that I've been able to pick up from each of them. And they really taught me the value of resilience, the importance of community, the power of a clear vision, and having the right team to support you. And so by sharing their experiences and insight with me, they've helped me kind of shape my own personal leadership style and helped me form my commitment to serving the AAPI community. So I'm really deeply grateful for their influence. And I aspire to offer this mentorship to others. So actually, a few years ago, 2 years ago, AREAA launched our EDGE mentorship program. So EDGE is our kind of like our young professionals network. And so our EDGE mentorship program, we piloted 2 years ago. We paired a bunch of newer, aspiring younger leaders with more established leaders that have been with AREAA for many years. And, they were able to kind of chat throughout the year, meet up, have Zoom calls, and just, talk about AREAA, talk about their experience as leaders, talk about speaking, talk about their own personal business, how to be a real estate agent, all of that. And a lot of people really love that program. So we expanded it last year and we're going to continue to expand it this year. And it's open to, AREAA members, AREAA sponsors. So if you, Teresa, are interested in signing up as a mentor, we would love for you to do
I
that.
actually did mentor last year. So
Oh, awesome.
yeah, I was one of the mentors. So yeah, it was awesome. It was great I absolutely love it. Like I said, I love being mentored and I love mentoring. I think it's so important just because as women, Latinas, and we didn't always have people to aspire to, like, I didn't have anyone that I could really be modeled after. And so I wanted that it really has helped me so much in my everyday journey. And I'm sure you obviously have found the same benefit.
Definitely. Thank you so much for being a mentor. I hope you'll continue to be part of the program.
Absolutely. Love it. Love it. So one of the things that I love about, which I actually do use social media. I wish I were better at it. So how do you leverage that to influence and impact the work you're doing, particularly because you're in real estate, right? In the sector of real estate, and also through AREAA and through getting things out. How do you impact that?
Yeah. Well, I feel like in today's day and age, social media and having a brand is important for every profession. I was just watching some talk where the people were saying that, people want their lawyer to have a brand. They want their doctor to have a brand. They want to, find these people on social media, on YouTube, wherever they find them, right? So social media, it really is a game changer for everyone because it allows us to connect, educate and engage a much wider audience than we can normally just in person, right? Of course, I definitely don't think that social media or, in person, Zoom can replace human contact. But look, like we would never have been able to do this today without Zoom, right? So
Yes.
definitely I utilize platforms like Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube to share my insights, to highlight properties that I'm touring or listing, discuss industry trends, just show what I'm doing at AREAA, all the different galas and events that I'm going to. As the national president of AREAA, I obviously travel a lot and go to a lot of real estate and networking events and conferences and galas. And so whenever I meet people, instead of just exchanging a business card, I try to make it a habit to add the other person on social media, whatever platform that they prefer to use most, because I use all of them. Because like, let's be honest, we probably mostly collect a bunch of business cards at networking events, and then you either don't ever look at them
Put
again,
them in your
throw them out,
pocket.
toss them in a shoebox, and so if you're lucky, you save it into your phone, but then even as a contact in your phone, you may not even remember who that person is. So, but if you connect on social media and you actually, post and update your account, they're going to continuously see your content every week and get to know you over time. And then if you're able to spend a little bit of time to engage with the people that you meet as well on their content, you really are able to build a closer relationship. And so I often, my AREAA family all around the country, sometimes some of those people I only see, once or twice a year. But when we see each other, we feel like we're best friends because we see each other on social media. We see what each other is doing. We engage, we comment on each other. And so we really feel connected that way. So I think that, use it as a tool to strengthen your connections and get referrals and meet people and build your network.
I think that is such a beautiful, beautiful answer. And I think it's so true because you do feel like you know that person, even though sometimes I haven't met someone and I thought they'll tell me, no, we've actually never met in person. I'm like,
Yeah.
I thought we had, because you're
Right.
involved, and again, I'll always say the caveat because a lot of children and young adults are too influenced by social media and don't realize the power and importance of relationship building. And I think that's one of the things that you just mentioned, Jamie, that we also, how important that is, and having that conversation and picking up the phone and doing the really critical one-on-one to really develop and strengthen those relationships. It's used as a tool, but should not replace human connections. I think that's really important. And as we talk about human connections,
Yes.
let's talk about AI and technology and, what do you use? Because I find that so fascinating. It's so helpful and beneficial. How has it helped you with your business? And how, are there any apps that you want to recommend to any of us that you think are phenomenal?
Yeah, there are so many cool AI tools and apps out there transforming every industry, and there's new ones every day, and it's most definitely transforming the real estate industry. Just on a very basic level, I think every agent should know how to use like a chat GPT, obviously, right? You can use it to help you start writing property descriptions, blog posts, even tough emails. Like, you can't just rely on it and copy and paste, but like a lot of the times, it takes 30 minutes or so to write a property description. You can do it in 10 minutes and save 20 minutes, right? So you tweak it, proofread it, of course, but having that starting base really can save so much time. And so a couple of different tools that I use at my brokerage, likely AI is a tool that we use. So basically it's an app where you can upload your farm list that you get from your title company. And there's an AI and monitoring technology that actually will predict which of the people on the list are more likely to sell, update the missing contact info, like, emails and phone numbers for these people so you can cold call them. It even triggers notifications to follow up. So it uses a lot of different public data, public record, where basically they gather all this data and they're able to have prediction technology on which is more likely to sell. So let's say you have a list of 50,000 people you want to cold call, or not 50,000, let's say 5,000 people.
5,000, right?
Right? But you really, that's going to take so long to cold call, but you put it through there and you get the top 200 and you focus on those people. And hopefully your energy is,
It's
saved.
all about that connection,
All
that phone
about,
call.
it's all
But
about
right,
the
but you now
connection.
have the resource to make that call. But what is it called?
Likely. So
Likely?
like likely to sell,
Yeah,
likely. So it's called likely AI. So it's a
fantastic.
subscription
That's
service,
one. Okay.
but highly recommend. It's interesting. You can even put in like the criteria of your buyers and they can try to find potential sellers that may match that
I
criteria.
love this.
Yeah, so
Love
it's
it.
very cool. a lot of different apps that you can use for social media content, like obviously basic ones that can help you generate captions. There's tools that can virtually stage your homes now. You used to have to pay like $20 a photo to do virtual staging if your seller won't do real staging. Now you can do it on an AI for probably pennies on a dollar. I haven't used it yet, but I've seen the AI recently that basically, you could make a video, but like a lot of people aren't good at making videos without a script. So they want to read the script, but it looks like your eyeballs are not looking at the camera and moving. So there's actually this AI that can move your eyeballs to
Yes, it does.
like
Yeah.
you're looking at the camera. There's one that where you can record yourself speaking in English and it'll translate to another language and also make your lips and eyes move to the new language. So it's just crazy. Technology is insane and like new apps are coming out every day. And again, I don't believe that humans can be replaced by AI, but I do believe that, humans that don't learn how to use AI are going to be replaced by
Place
humans
by
who learn
that's
how to use it because those humans are going to be so much more efficient, right? So,
Oh my God, I think that's so enlightening and so true. And I think it's definitely the way you need to think about it because you also have to be, when you're using an AI, which I have found, because I actually use Gemini and chat to compare notes. A
yeah,
lot of them almost exactly the same, which kind of bizarre, but also use your own voice, which you said, Jamie. You have to kind of proof it, but it saves so much time. It really does help develop, and time management is so critical today. So I love what you said.
everyone
Now,
probably sees when you join a big Zoom meeting, there's like 50 other bots that are taking AI, the
yes.
AI assistant taking notes. And it's funny at first, but then afterwards you're like, actually, of course the notes are not perfect. Sometimes they're wrong. But like it really does help to have like kind of note taking for Zoom meetings and things like that. So yeah, it's
So
definitely.
important, so important. Well, one of our previous guests was Ryan Wayant, who is the CEO of the LGBTQ plus Real Estate Alliance. And and Gino Blafar, our CEO, was the very first to sign the Stop Hate in Real Estate Pledge, which I think is absolutely beautiful because, it is something that all of us need to be so aware of. And also the combination of all the organizations to really make sure that people understand that that's critical, right, for us to move forward. And I know there's been a lot of hate especially in the Asian community after COVID, right? Pre-COVID and right after COVID. So tell me why that's such an important campaign and its significance to AREAA.
Yeah, definitely. So, AREA's collaboration with the LGBTQ plus Alliance and other organizations in the Stop Hate in Real Estate campaign, which we call Shire, Stop Hate in Real Estate, it really underscores our commitment to diversity and inclusion in the real estate industry in general. It's significant because it represents our united stance against discrimination and hate in all forms within the real estate industry. And by joining forces together, we can kind of amplify our message, our voice, and work together, to create a more equitable and respectable real estate environment for everyone. And, whether you're, A, NHPI, LGBTQ, whether you're Hispanic, African American, we all experience unfortunately, hate and prejudice and exclusion in the real estate industry. And that's why together we have a lot of the same initiatives and the same things that we're fighting against. And that's why it's important for us to come together and support each other. I actually just did a webinar with Shire last week, and we with John Wong and Kurt Nishimura and Tim Herr, a couple of our past presidents, and we shared about what's going on, across the country right now that's affecting not only the NHPI community, but also Hispanic communities as well. But basically, there's about 35 states that have created discriminatory and exclusionary land laws. One of them is the state of Florida, as you may have heard of SB 264, but basically they've made it illegal for a seller to sell a property to a person of Chinese, North Korean, Iran, Venezuelan, Russian, Cuban, a couple of other countries' descent. And they've gone as far as to make it actually a felony to sell a home to a person of Chinese descent. So this, of course, of course, we understand that like national security is a very important thing, and that's kind of like the premise of a lot of these laws. But that the way that they're written, they're very exclusionary to all people, in that like students, for example, who are here on student visas, people here who are on legal work permits, like my family, when my parents first came to
Yes.
the United States, we were on a student visa, then a work visa. And when I was 9 years old, my parents bought our first house. They were on a work visa and they had gotten sponsored by their company to try to apply for a green card, but it's a really long journey. I mean, we did not become US citizens until I was 16, I think 15 or 16 years old, when I was in high school, and I immigrated to the United States when I was 4, 2 years after my parents. So it took us over a decade, over 12 years actually, to become US citizens. And imagine, if my family had not been able to purchase a home, we wouldn't have
You
had
have
that
been to
ability.
college?
I wouldn't have been able to go to college. So these bills really hit home for me, and it really affects, people like me. If my family immigrated to these states today, we wouldn't be able to purchase a home. We probably would experience prejudice there. So it's really, really unfortunate that these bills suddenly started popping up, I think last year or a little bit longer than that ago. And now they're following in so many states. 35 states either have already passed or are considering passing similar bills. So, we're lucky to have the support of NAREP, LGBTQ plus Alliance, Shire, and all of these other organizations to come together and really fight against discrimination and hate in all forms.
I totally agree. I think CAR is part of that as well, and or Women Up. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
lot of great
Yes,
organizations that are involved.
definitely.
NARAB is also looking at joining us because one unified voice can make a difference and change the world. So I love that all of us have come together to really, to really understand fair housing violation, all of that. That's really what we want to be about. As your legacy, because I know that you've got, is it 2 years? You'll be involved in 2 years now, right? Because
Yes.
your year advanced plus the year that you would be serving. What do you want to leave behind? Each president has impacted AREAA in such a way. So what do you feel your legacy is going to be, or what do you want it to be?
Yeah. Well, I really want to leave behind a legacy of growth, inclusivity, and empowerment. I really want to strengthen the foundation of AREAA for our future leaders, inspire, young future leaders to step up, expand our outreach, and ensure that AREAA continues to be the leading voice in advocating for homeownership in the NHPI community. But overall, I really want AREAA to become like a household name. I want everyone to know what AREAA is. I want to, people outside the real estate industry to have heard of AREAA. I want, all communities to know that we're here to fight for the underserved community, and that, hopefully we can get more people on board and supporting us.
Oh, and I know if anyone can do it, it will definitely be you. AREAA will be a household name by the end of your term, Jamie. As a final lighthearted question, I always love to know more about the people, that I am talking to. Tell me something that nobody might know about you, that people just very, very few know about you.
Well, I'm obsessed with nature, like both animals and plants. I actually majored in environmental science at UCLA, and my guilty pleasure is watching like all kinds of animal videos on Instagram and TikTok. And I love to follow people who raise interesting pets. Like, I watched this one woman who has a hermit crab for a pet, and she takes it for walks and she carries it around the house, and she shows like the hermit crab's molting process and everything. It's very interesting. Okay. And then I also follow this lady who breeds jumping spiders. She has like, this is so scary. Like, she has dozens of them and she has them in separate enclosures and she plays with them. And then she says like, no, no, a spider has never bit her. And like, I used to be super scared of spiders, and like every time I'd freak out if I found one in my house. But after I saw her videos, I don't know, it kind of like made it less scary for me. And like, now I feel really bad for them. I always make sure to take them outside. I don't want to kill them. But it's just funny. I don't know why. Like, so that's like my late night guilty pleasure. I like to like
I
scroll,
love
watch
that.
random animal videos.
I do. I love that. First of all, animal videos are really cool, and I love the ones where they you have a ring camera and you'll see animals
Oh,
doing
yes.
kind of things, or people going out and being a bear is there, all that stuff and the way they react. I totally,
Yeah.
totally get that's very cool. I like that, Jamie. I'm still going to be afraid of spiders. That is my biggest thing. The one question that somebody asked recently of me was, would you prefer being, in a cage with snakes or with spiders? I'm like, neither. I couldn't do
Oh,
either.
that's like literally the scariest
My
thing
neck,
ever.
right.
But I think I would, I don't know, I would choose spiders just because I think I'm more scared of snakes.
I mean, me too. I like Harrison Ford, right? Indiana Jones and the snakes. Anyway, Jamie, I really have enjoyed. You are definitely wise beyond your years. Huge wisdom that comes across. I really want to express my heartfelt gratitude for joining me and for opening and sharing. And it's been an absolute honor to learn about your background. And I'm genuinely thrilled to hear about the initiatives that you want to install at AREAA and the organization this year and again and next. I do really believe that your passion reflects that the knowledge and wisdom and the importance of the organization. And I think it's definitely going to grow with you as a leader.
Thank you
So
so much for having me on. I'm so excited to be able to chat with you more and share a little bit more about Aria.
I am too. So for all of you out there, AREAA is air. Give us the website again.
AREAA.org, and we have our Diversity and Fair Housing Summit coming up from May 5th through 8th in Washington, D.C. That's where it's a national event where all of our chapters gather, and we actually meet with representatives on the Hill to talk about policies and bills that would support homeownership and support the underserved communities. So if you're interested, that's a great place to start off and meet a lot of our local leaders and, support AREAA's mission.
It really is. It's the best place. The first time that I went to DC, it was like so scary when I went up on the Hill to talk about, the advocacy of the organizations that we're involved with, but about home ownership. But
Yeah.
everyone is touched because home ownership is such a value in the United States. As you said, you couldn't buy a home. I mean, that's something that in China you couldn't do. And in this country, it is the dream that we hope, right, will continue to be possible for many of us, because that is really what makes the difference and the biggest impact of wealth creation. And we've seen that time and time again. So thank you again, Jamie. And this is a wrap up of another episode of Diversity Matters. I want to thank all of you for joining us. And keep in mind, you can stay updated on all our future episodes and access our exclusive content and also past episodes as well, because we archive all of them. Follow us on diversitymattersseries.com and also on diversitymattersyoutube.com. You can access either source. Like Jamie said, she has all social media, so do we. And join us right back here on March 27th with our featured guests, Sun Gwen and Dustin Lucy, who are the founders of the Veterans Real Estate Association of America. They've got a great initiative that they want to talk about. So I can't wait to see them. For all of you, thank you again for joining us, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye. Bye, Jamie. Thank you again for
Bye.
being
Thank
here.
you.